All right, you guys, tonight is our first call for our self-love course. I'm super excited to start this with you guys. I know that each and every one of you have came from a different part in your life, a different area in your life, something that guided you to join this course in the first place. You know, as a woman, I don't know if you guys got a chance to watch my Instagram television show, Instagram TV today, my video. I was talking about how, you know, as women mostly, we tend to be people pleasers. We tend to devote our entire lives to please other people, whether we're growing up as a child and we're pleasing our parents, or we're growing up in, you know, in that middle school, junior year, and we're trying to find ourselves, try to find who we are. And then we find ourselves maybe pretending that we like certain things or pretending to be someone that we're not just to please other people. And then you grow up and you get in relationships and you kind of lose yourself. You kind of lose who you are because you're so devoted to please other people. And I think that's how society has made women forever. And the thing is, when we do that, there's going to come a point in our lives where we're like, well, who am I? What happened? Like where in this lifetime, whether it's 25, 35, 45 years, where did I lose myself? And you want to claim that back. You want that back, right? And oftentimes it takes something tragic or traumatic or life altering for you to be like, okay, wait a minute. This is not how I want to live the rest of my life. This is not how I want to feel inside. This is not who I want to be. Right? And so we have to come to terms with like awareness. We have to come to terms with things that we have to change, because the truth is there's shit. Also, you guys, I have very colorful language, especially when I talk about something that I'm passionate about. And I'm very passionate about. So I'm probably going to be throwing out some colorful language. So if you have any kiddos around you, I apologize in advance. But there comes a time where I don't know what I was saying. Anyways, I got sidetracked with that. But we have to become aware. Oh, the thing I was talking about is the truth is we can't control other people as much as we want. We can't control how other people treat us. We can't control how other people view us. We can't control how other people take our intentions. We can't control outside of ourselves. But the one thing that we can control is ourselves and our self-worth and our self-belief and our actions and our intentions and our integrity. And that's where the work comes in. That's where we have to have that self-reflection, that self-awareness. And that's what I'm going to take you guys through along this journey. The next 30 days or however long is going to be a lot of eye openers for you. It's going to be raw. It's going to be vulnerable. And I want you guys to really dig deep within yourself, because the thing is, when we remain surfacial, we never figure out the root of the problem. Just like if you want to lose weight and you're like, oh, I want to look good in a bikini this summer. That's being surfacial. Why do you want to look good in a bikini? Why is it confidence? Do you want to feel confident on the beach running around? Do you want to be able to keep up with your kids? Do you want to have all the energy in the world? Do you want to, like, what is it? You have to dig deep. Same thing with self-love and self-worth. You have to dig deep why it is you're feeling this way and what it is that you want to feel. So with that said, I should have introduced myself, not like you guys don't know me, but my name is Vicki Roberts. I'm a single mom. I have 11-year-old, you guys. He's going to be 12 in like 18, 19 days, which is his last year before he's a teenager. I'm like, you're still a baby to me. I got criticized the other day from my mom. You're not supposed to call him a baby anymore. Bullshit. Even when he's 25, I'm going to be calling him my baby. He's my baby. Anyways, I've been a Beachbody coach for 9.5 years. I'm a fur dog mom. I do all the things. And I'm here to help guide you guys. And I'm just going to be laying out the blueprint for you guys. You guys are the ones that are needing to show up for yourselves, and you deserve it. You deserve to put in the work. You deserve to show up and take that time for yourselves. And I know it's hard. It's hard when you're a mom. It's hard when you're a single mom. It's hard when you're going through life changes. It's hard, right? But the thing is, if we don't make time for ourselves now, even through the hard, when will we ever find time to make time for ourselves? Truth is never. So you have to start making yourself a priority, which brings me to, I'm very grateful that you guys made time tonight to get on this call. Oh, excuse you. I'm sorry. I don't have an office door. So if there's random dog noises, I apologize. And even those of you that are watching the recording, I'm really grateful and appreciative of you. And I'm glad that you're honoring yourself and showing up for yourself. So let's get down to business. So the way that it's laid out, by now, everyone has gotten the PDF. I'm sorry. I know that Libby and I believe Emily, it was delayed on the emails, but hopefully you guys got the PDF by now. They go in 3-day increments, but I should fix that. So today we're going to be focusing on 2 topics. That's your story and establish. So right now we're going to jump into our story. So we all have a story that subconsciously we've told ourselves for eternity, for our entire lives, based on what happened in our childhood, what happened in relationships, our parents, jobs, friends, employees, coworkers, bosses, society, everything around us, social media. Oh my goodness, social media. We all have a story that has made us view ourselves as what the outside world views us, right? And the thing is, I'm going to just jump to the gun right here. The thing is, we're harboring a story that is not even our story. Subconsciously, we have been told certain things throughout our entire lives that we have kept in like this little lockbox in our subconscious that we may not even be aware of, right? Like, maybe when you were younger and your mom was like, oh, you shouldn't put too much makeup on, you'll look trashy. And now you don't want to wear any makeup. Or now when you wear makeup, you feel a certain way. Or if someone got onto you about your weight, or in a relationship, you know, he was very insecure and he thought you were cheating on him, or whatever, like these false stories that people have plugged into us. We haven't been able to grieve or work through them, which we will later on in this journey. But so we store them on our subconscious. And like I said, you may not even be aware that you're holding on to these negative incidences that's happened in your life, that's been said to you in your life. When we were born happy and full of life. And most likely before we could even remember, we were taught a story that was never meant for us. You know, I hear, I remember going back to when Gage was a toddler, and, you know, I'm sure everyone remembers this, and you have to baby proof your house. And anytime they want to put something in their mouth or they're going to drop something or something, you tell them, no, 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 no. And if you're thinking about it, like you're sitting there, all you're saying to these little kids, all we were told is no, 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 no. This is not good. This is wrong. This is not good. You're not supposed to do this. You're not supposed to do that. So like, as even a toddler, when you know no better, you're already being stunted. Your growth is already being stunted because you're not I'm not saying let your children run wild and do all the things and eat all the things and stick all the peas up their nose. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying, like, even as a little baby, an 18-month-old baby, or however long, you're growing up and you're being formed into something that your parents think you need to be because of safety or because of their fear or because of their insecurities or what happened to them as kids or whatever. And it's no fault of their own because that's how they were raised too, right? So even from a toddler, we were being forced to be told a story that wasn't even ours. And when we grew up, we had more influencers that have been affecting our story, right? When we get into elementary school and middle school, we all know how the transitional phase from elementary to middle school is and how hard it is to try to find yourself and be like, okay, well, I'm a young adult here. But then to feel accepted, we all want a sense of belonging, right? And then having to form yourself into someone else, or you know, we just get wrapped up into this story that's not even ours. Along our lifetime, we have been made to feel less than, insignificant, unworthy of success, happiness, and love. We have learned to dim our light because we were afraid of being too much. Have any of you guys been told that you are too much of something? Too loud, too friendly, too sensitive, too bossy, too clingy, too needy, too anything, right? We are told these things. And instead of making ourselves comfortable, instead of keeping ourselves comfortable, we no longer shine our light because we're afraid to make others comfortable. So we make ourselves uncomfortable because we don't want to be told we're too much of something anymore. The truth is, we all want the same thing. Before I continue, I want you guys to know, if someone ever in your life has told you that you're too much of something, they're just unable to handle it. Okay? There's no such thing as being too much, too sensitive, too bossy, too clingy, too needy, too nothing. It means they are unequipped to handle your amazingness. Okay, I'm going to say that right there. And you just need to find new people. Side note. Okay, we all want the same things in life. All honesty, whether we vocalize it or not, we all want to be heard. We all want to be loved. We all want to belong, to feel like we belong, and we all want to be appreciated. Am I right? And we all are. But the story we've been holding on to is preventing us to feel that way. Sorry. Especially as women, we get so busy with school and jobs and our families, all of the above, all at the same time, that we tend to stop focusing on what makes us happy and what brings light into our life and focus on others and entertaining and feeding and just taking care of pouring our entire cups out to everybody else. And oftentimes we don't even know who we are anymore. We lose our sense of self-worth. We lose it. I purposely write bullet points down so I stay on track, but then I'm like, oh, well, I already talked about that because I got really excited about it. Anyways, I'm going to share a little story with you guys. As most of you guys know, I just got out of a really toxic relationship. Some of you are also or have also experienced something very similar. And what you share is completely up to you, but I'm sharing what's up to me. And like I said, that you guys feel free to do whatever you want when it comes to my stories. But I got out of a really toxic relationship. And at the time, I found myself losing my self-worth. I found myself having to walk on eggshells because I was afraid of a negative outcome. All my life, I've watched my parents. Before they split up, it's so silly that I say this. Before they split up, they were in love. They were fun, happy, giggly, like always dancing. Just this, I looked at my dad like a man should treat a woman. He was always kind, always loving, always thoughtful. That's what I thought a relationship was. And I've been in relationships, right? But then I found myself in a very toxic relationship where I was losing myself. And it was like a subconscious challenge for me to stay in this relationship because I was like, well, I know that I can change. I've changed physically and mentally in my own life, that I know something possible can change, that can come out of this. And I tried pouring my heart into this so much that I lost myself. And I started seeing red flags that I was oblivious to. And the reason I'm sharing this with you guys is because I've been talking about my story on social media, and so many other women have been coming to me telling me similar experiences that either they're afraid to get out of, or, it's not even in a significant relationship. It could be with a friendship or parents or someone in your life that is making you feel less than and is making you feel unworthy of love and happiness, but you're afraid because you would make them uncomfortable. And the thing is, we need to learn to stand our ground. We need to learn to stand up for ourselves as scary as it can be, and be okay with whatever outcome happens. You know, I know my girl Jackie shared the other day how she had a family get together and your sister and your fiance don't get along, right? And I had to remind her, like, hey, you know what? You can't control everybody. We can't force other people to like each other. We can't force other relationships. We can't force how other people talk to each other. But the best thing that you can focus on is what makes you happy. You love your sister. You love your fiance. That's all that matters, right? Like, we can't change anyone else's perception on someone else, regardless of what happened. That's their baggage. And if they want your help, you can give it to them. But until then, we all focus on ourselves and what's important to us and what we feel is going to bring us joy and happiness and love, and really dive into loving ourselves and embracing ourselves for who we are. So throughout our lives, we've been told, or we've found ourselves constantly saying, I'm not enough. I'm not smart. I will always be broke. I'm a failure. I'm never X, Y, and Z. We keep telling ourselves these negative words of affirmation. And the more you tell yourself these things, the more you believe it to be true. Like, how many times have we, like, we're human. We stub our toe, we spill our coffee, we break something, you know, you back your car into something on accident. Like, we all do these things that are, you know, just humanly. But we tell ourselves, like, oh my God, I'm such an idiot. I can't believe I did that. And you just get discouraged and get disappointed in yourself. And you just feel awful for something that was a complete accident. But we've been telling ourselves these lies for so long that we've subconsciously been choosing to believe them. And throughout our lives, regardless of how old you are, regardless of if you could remember from the first instance where you started feeling a negative certain way up until now, all those lead up to the story that you are living now, which in your subconscious has brought to be true. Which leads me to the next letter, which is E for establish. Awareness is key when it comes to letting go. If you don't bring what you've shoved down to the surface, we will always hold on to those thoughts and feelings. I know sometimes we've, you know, like, I don't know about you guys, I hate confrontation so much. Like, if I go to a restaurant and they don't cook my meal right, or they give me something wrong, I'm like, well, I didn't order this, but it's fine. I'll eat it. Like, I hate confrontation that bad. But it's so silly, because is it my job to eat what I didn't even order, or is it their job to bring me what I ordered? You know, it's human error. People make mistakes all the time. But because I don't like confrontation, I don't want to be like, hey, just to let you know, there's steak instead of chicken, or, you know, whatever. So that's me shoving it down. That's me shoving it down to make someone else comfortable, right? That happens when there's parts of our story that we have shoved down. If someone made us feel a certain way, if something happened, whatever it is, we've shoved down because we don't want that uncomfortable feeling of coming up again, right? So we think it's going to be more comfortable hiding it away, sweeping it under the rug, not shining light on it. But little do we know, it's eating at us from the inside. We have to establish where these things come from. In my homework that I sent you guys, I had you guys write down when you could first remember feeling less than. If you didn't get to it yet, it's completely fine, not a problem. Just know this is what we're going to focus on. We have to bring where and when these thoughts came from to light so we can let them go. It's about awareness. If you don't know why you're being triggered, you will never truly understand how to get through that trigger point. If you don't know where a bad feeling is coming from or why you're having your body temperature rise, or you're getting palm sweaty, or you're getting a little anxious, or you're just feeling like not good. If you don't know where those are coming from, they're going to keep happening to you, and they're going to keep preventing you from feeling full and happy and free and light and just all the things that you've been wanting to feel. So that's going to lead me to, I'm going to share a little bit about part of my story with you guys that maybe you have not heard on social media, because I don't share everything on social media, despite what you guys think. So growing up, I was very active with my older brother. I had a brother that was 9 years older than me. Man, this guy did baseball, he did swim, he coached, he did everything. His academics were top notch, 4.0 all the time. I grew up trying to be like my 9-year older brother. I took Spanish like my brother because he taught me Spanish when I was 4 years old, and I thought it was just the coolest thing. I tried out for baseball because my brother did baseball. I got cut. I tried out for volleyball because I'm like, oh, if baseball's not my sport, volleyball is. Tried out for volleyball, got cut. Tried out for basketball, got cut. The things that I was getting cut from, you know what they told me? I was too talkative. I was too much of a distraction. I wouldn't be a good fit for the team. And so growing up in middle school, thinking these things that I thought was a great, I thought it was a great quality to have. I could make friends easily. I could lift anyone's spirit easily. For me, that was a great quality to have, even a part of a team. Right? Because if your team is losing, you want a cheerleader on your team to, give you the rah-rah, right? To give you motivation to keep doing better. That's what I thought anyways. But when 3 different coaches cut me from 3 different sports because I was too much of something, I was too talkative, I was too distracting, then I started losing who I thought I was. Well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's not what people want. Maybe that's not who I should be. So throughout my middle school years, that's what I carried. That's the part of me that I carried, and I shut that down. I didn't want to be too much. I didn't want to be too friendly. So it prevented me from making more friends. I didn't want to be too social. I didn't want to be too uplifting because maybe people would think that I was weird. And so looking back now, I realized my growth was stunted right then and there. We've all been through middle school. It's a bitch. It's hard to fit in. It's hard to stay on track with your grades when you're so distracted with trying to belong. Then you have these teachers shutting you down. Needless to say, when I went to high school, I tried out again, got the same thing. Because here in my mind, I'm like, oh, okay, it's a new school, right? New school, shake it off. I could be myself again. No, it's all right. I tried out for drama. I was in all the plays where I could talk as much as I want. It turned out great. But what I'm saying is that somewhere in our lives, we need to sit down and focus on our lives and where these incidences had occurred. Before I wrote this course, I haven't thought about those moments in 20 years. I haven't thought about the fact that I got cut. I haven't even thought about trying out for sports. But it was when I was bringing my own awareness to play when I was writing this. I'm like, damn, I remember being that 12-year-old up against that brick wall. You didn't make it. And when you're standing with your buddies and everyone's just excited and cheering for each other, and then you're like, well, there goes my belonging. There goes me fitting in. It rips a part out of you. And if you don't work on that, when you become aware of that, you're reliving that pain all over again. But subconsciously, we're constantly reliving that pain because it's not something that we've ever worked on. So that was just one part of my story of 37 years. Now it's time for you guys to write out yours. This is our first homework assignment, you guys. And I want you guys to remember that this is going to get hard before it gets easier. The next 2 weeks are going to be the hardest assignments throughout the entirety of this course. But I want you guys to know that there is light at the end of the road, okay? So you are doing the groundwork, you are building the foundation right now, and you're getting through the shit first before you can plant the flowers. So you guys are going to write out your stories. I don't want you to write out all the negative, or I don't want you just to write out all the negative thoughts and limited beliefs. I want you to write out your desires too. So the first part, I want you to write out certain incidences, certain limiting beliefs, certain thoughts, and where you think these came from. If you could remember being 5, if you could remember being 10, if you could remember being 12, however old you were, write down the things that come to mind. And you guys, this may take all night. It may take a week. I want you guys also know that none of these assignments have due dates. It's not a competition who could get done faster. You're not going to be criticized if you don't complete it by next call. Like, this is on you, because I know some of this stuff is going to be hard to work through, especially when we have little ones running around, or we have families to take care of, or we have jobs, or we have all of the above, right? This is going to be for you to make you time and to sit and write out your story and your triggers and your limiting beliefs and where they came from, because that's not going to be easy. And I want you guys to give yourself grace. And you're going to hear me talk a lot about giving yourself grace through the entirety of this course, because oftentimes when we don't hit the nail on the head, if we aren't perfect, if we mess up our morning routine, we get discouraged and we get disappointed in ourselves. And that's the opposite thing we're trying to achieve in this course. Give yourself grace. We are all human. We all mess up. Life happens. Things happen. And that's okay. So you guys heard me talk a lot about negative affirmations at the beginning of this. You know, I'm not good enough. I don't believe in myself. I can't believe I did that. I'm such an idiot, yada, yada, yada. You see me, I have grown to have such a consistency in my morning routine. And this is why it was the first thing that I taught you guys. I know first thing when I wake up in the morning, if I don't pour it into myself, my cup will not be overflowing. And my cup needs to be overflowing in order to pour in other cups, right? Oftentimes, especially as moms, we wake up and we immediately start taking care of everybody else. Can't even shower by yourself, can't even use the bathroom by yourself, right? Like, you immediately start taking care of everybody else because we love them. So of course we're going to take care of them. But who's taking care of you? We need to take care of ourselves. So that's why separate whatever time frame you're allowing yourself. Get up a little bit early. It doesn't have to be a big, grand time. It doesn't have to be an hour and a half, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever time you have to pour in yourself to fill up your cup. At least write affirmations, because that's where the rewiring of your brain happens. When you are retelling yourself these things that are true, that you are enough, that you deserve happiness, that you're amazing, that you're confident, that you deserve all the abundance and all the joy in all the world. If you're constantly telling yourself this, the negative limited beliefs that you've been constantly telling yourself for the past 25, 35 years, they're going to be shut up. You're going to stop telling yourself those things. So you're going to write out your past story, right? What we talked about. Second, then, like I said, you're going to write out your desires. You're going to write out the story that you wish to live, that you wish to be true. You're going to write, what do you want to be? Oh, sorry. Who do you want to be? Who do you want to be? What do you want to feel? How do you want to feel? And what do you desire your life to be like? Now, I want you to remember these questions can seem very easy to answer if you remain on the surface. But the more work you put into this, the more you're going to get out of it. So I challenge you guys to dig deep and answer these questions as best as you can. And like I said, these are all your own beautiful stories. There's no right or wrong answer, okay? Everyone's going to come with their old stories and everyone's going to come with their new stories, and that's great. This may be hard because it's new, but we got to get uncomfortable before we can light our soul on fire. So your homework, write your past story and write your present and your future story. Because right now we are working on awareness. So with that said, I'm going to open it up. If anyone has any questions or comments or wants to share anything, don't feel obligated to, but you're in a safe space. Nothing?
Vicki, I'll talk.
Okay.
I think for me, the hardest thing in my adult life has been I don't want to share what I'm really thinking or feeling, or really touch those deep emotions with someone for the fear of their reaction. Like maybe they don't want to hear what I have to say, but in my mind, I need to say it, but I can't. I can't get the words out.
Because you're fearful of the outcome.
Yes. So after I got divorced and went through some counseling, that particular counselor diagnosed me with something called learned helplessness. Have you heard of that before?
Learned helplessness, where you just feel helpless all the time?
Well, that's what I would thought of it as, but it's like it's the fear of the reaction. So you just don't do anything. And so for me, I think I'm wanting to learn how to deal with these triggers, because I just let things go. And then all of a sudden it's like a small sock on the floor and it's like this huge, big issue. And I'm like, where in the hell is this coming from?
Right. Because
It's not one thing, it's like 10,000 things that built up. And then all of a sudden it just is out of control.
right. So you keep things in until you can no longer keep them in. When if you would have talked about them the first instance, then it would have been calm and collective, and more than likely the reaction from someone else, it would have been better than the outcome of the big
Total chaos.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that is something very common, when, especially in relationships, we're afraid to burden, or we're afraid to upset, or we're afraid to rock the boat, if you will. And this could be like intimate relationships or friendships or parents, whatever. And so oftentimes we keep things in because we are afraid of the reaction. We don't want to upset anybody. We don't want them, we don't want things to go sideways. But like you said, there's so much a person can hold on to before it's too much.
Mm-hmm.
So what have you been doing to work through that?
Well, this week, I've been trying to do meditation. And then this morning, I did just like it was like a 25-minute workout, something or rather that about killed me, but I survived.
Yeah, good job.
And I felt good after I did it. And I was glad that I did it.
Well, good for you.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's something we can definitely work on too in this course, is helping you find your voice and not hide it for the comfort of others based on their reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that comes along with like overthinking too, because like when we have something to say, well, when I have something to say, I think that oftentimes when I get in that moment, I fear the worst, like the worst possible outcome. And that's what I'm afraid of. Not like that. It could maybe a 1% chance it could be that way.
Right.
But there's 99% that it could be something else that we're not even thinking of. Right.
I'm on a podcast that I listened to on the way to work yesterday. It was about anxiety and that, and the gentleman that was putting it on said, anxiety happens when our fear is exaggerated for what may happen, and we underestimate our ability to face the risk or to what our reaction's going to be to the risk.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, that's exactly right. I had not thought about it that way.
Yeah, that's awesome. You should share that podcast in the group.
Yeah, I will. It was really good. So I listened to several of his. I have an hour each way, so
nice.
I have some time.
Yeah, way to utilize your time.
Yeah, so I was like ingraining it in my head. I was like, this is good, as I'm trying to talk myself off the ledge, you know.
Sure.
There's like triggers during the day, and I mean, I'm just like physically get
right
on edge.
Right. Well, good job making use of your time. Yeah, and if you could share that podcast with everybody, that would be awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Anyone else?
I guess I can talk a little bit. Because I don't really know. I kind of do the opposite, and I over vocalize. I think what I'm dealing with and I'm feeling, and my husband is completely amazing and supportive, and he does everything he can do to listen to me and support me and help me and all this. But I know it weighs on him because I can tell that he's not as open. He doesn't like to talk about himself. And so then I'm like unleashing all these things on him, and he's holding it in and not letting it out about how it's affecting him or how he's feeling or anything. So then I kind of always find myself going, I'm sorry, I'm crazy, I'm sorry, I'm this, even though he's not making me feel that way. I feel it anyways.
Right.
And that's probably because of my ex-husband.
Oh, we can't hear you. Oh no. Say something.
It froze. Okay, I think, is it back now?
Yeah.
Okay. So I overthink, and I definitely have become like this shell of a person where I definitely am not myself. My husband knew me in high school, and he's like, I don't really know where you went. I think my computer might have froze again.
Your picture's frozen, but we can hear you. But now you're back. You're good.
Oh geez, I don't know what keeps happening. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of a little bit of my story. I definitely overthink everything, especially his family is the worst. I always, after family events, I come home and I think for hours and hours and hours about everything I said and everything I did and how it probably came across and how they're probably talking about me now that I'm not there anymore. And I definitely overthink everything.
You're self-critical.
Yes, very self-critical. And I definitely have negative affirmations all the time. Like today was definitely hang loose. We eat goldfish and pizza, and my kids watch TV most of the day and just run amok. Kind of downtime for me. And sometimes I need those days, but then I find myself going, I'm such a bad mom. I'm not interacting with my kids. I'm not doing this. So I definitely have a negative cycle with being really hard on myself. when it's not, and it's not coming. I mean, it's probably from stuff from my past because, like I said, my husband does it. He's always like, take the day off, do what you need to do. You're not, why do you keep calling yourself a bad mom? Like, why do you, you know? So I don't really know where I'm going with that, but that's where I am.
Well, thank you for sharing. And I think doing those affirmations will definitely help you. And realize, like, Travis has never made, like you said it yourself, Travis has never made you feel like a burden. It's your thinking that you're burdening him because he's not as vocal about his feelings as you are.
Mhm.
And I think that you should, for one, like be compassionate about it. Like if you go in it with love and you're like, I'm very grateful that Travis, he may not be expressing his feelings like I am, but he's sitting there listening to me. And that, girl, a lot of women don't get that. So I'm just saying, be very fortunate and grateful. And like, if you go into it with love like that, then the fear side of it will kind of go away eventually. But if you're focused on like, I'm really grateful that he's sitting there listening to me, even if I feel a little crazy or whatever, but I am crazy, I am a bad mom, all that shit's got to go out the window, sis. Like none of that is true. Like we all feel like we could get a little crazy or whatever. And I'm sure every single mom on this planet has referred to herself as a bad mom at some point in time, if not all the time. Regardless of how present you are or what you're feeding your children, we've all felt that way. Okay. So give yourself grace. You guys just have moved as well. Like that's a bitch in itself. But be grateful. Go in those conversations with compassion. And when you're leaving family functions, maybe the best thing for you to do, instead of spending hours on end focusing on this, maybe sit down and journal like, okay, I feel this way because of this. Like, what are you feeling right now? And give a reason behind it. Why are you feeling that way? Did anyone say anything to you? Did anyone make you feel a certain way? Why did what they did make you feel a certain way? And like, just journal it out. And it's kind of like answering your own question. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of letting your brain run wild and like 5 hours later, you're like trying to go to sleep and you're like, oh my God, I could have said this differently, but why would I, you know?
That's a good idea. I like
But
that.
I think that could be helpful too. But yes, definitely utilize those words of affirmations. And another thing, you guys, anytime that another trick to rewiring your brain, anytime that you find yourself saying something negative, stop yourself in that moment instead of getting discouraged and be like, oh shit, I'm going to have to tell Vicki that I said I'm a bad mom again or whatever. Instead of getting hard on yourself in that moment, rephrase it. Rephrase it into something good. Rephrase it into a positive affirmation. No matter what it is, even if at first you don't believe it, because let's be honest, when we've been telling ourselves that I'm not good enough and I'm not worth a lick or whatever this is, when we've been telling ourselves that becomes our comfort. And so anytime we tell ourselves like, I'm enough and I believe in myself, it starts feeling funky at first. You're like, ugh, I don't believe this. This is weird because it's new, because you've never talked to yourself like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so at first, when you say I'm a bad mom, and then you're like, no, I'm a good mom that's very present in my kids' lives, just today's a little hectic. If you turn that around, it may feel a little awkward at first, and that's okay. Awkward is better than not feeling good. Awkward is better than feeling unhappy. Awkward is better than telling yourself negative self-talk for the rest of your life. So next time anything comes up, just erase it, get your dry erase markers, erase it, write something new. That's what we're doing. Well, thanks for sharing, Jess. All right, Jackie, I see that you popped back on video. I don't know if you want to unmute and say anything.
I don't know if I have really anything to really say right now. I'm just kind of like listening to everybody,
Good.
kind of seeing where I fit in here. But like, I'm agreeing with like a lot of the things.
Okay.
So yeah, definitely thinking about the past story. That's a little difficult, but you kind of triggered me to think about my parents' divorce and how that affected me. So I think I'm gonna really focus on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then don't forget, you guys, everyone has 2 one-on-one calls with me that you can utilize at any time. So if you have a hard time getting through your story, or if you have any questions, or if there's something that you want to talk about, not necessarily in a group setting, but you want to talk about and work through, let me know and we can get you guys scheduled for one-on-ones. So just to keep that in mind. But I'm really grateful for you guys showing up tonight. I'm really excited for what's to come for everybody. I hope you have a great evening. Oh, also, if you guys, when you guys write your stories, you're not obligated to share in the group, but you are more than welcome to share in the group, because it's a little free. It's a little more freeing when you're sharing with others. If you just want to share with me, I'd be honored for you to share it with me. But you could just type in the group that you've done it, or whatever you're feeling, if it was hard or freeing or emotional, or if it's taking you days on days, whatever. But make sure that you guys are participating in the group, because that's why we're there, because we all belong. I know Jackie said that you're trying to find your place and see where you like fit in. Like, we all belong. We all come from different places in our lives, and we all belong here because we're all women. We all want to learn to love ourselves more. We all want to stop that cycle of the stories that's been told to us, and we all want to grow. So with that said, I hope you guys all have a great evening, and I cannot wait to hear from you guys next Wednesday. Good night, ladies.
Thank you.
You're welcome.